What is up? It's your girl, the Rabby K. So, where do I begin? If you follow me on any of my social medias, you would know that I have gone through the process of weaning off of antidepressants, and I really wanted to jump on here and share with you guys my experience, I guess how I'm feeling, what the weaning process and what I'm feeling like after the process, and how it's going. And like, if that's something that you're interested in, you might be struggling with yourself, or you're interested in going on or coming off of antidepressants, then this video might help you, so keep on watching. Quick disclaimer as well, Zoloft does not work for everybody. All medications are different for everybody. Consult your doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not telling you if you're depressed that you should go on Zoloft. I don't know your medical history. I don't know your body. I don't know anything. So please don't take this as like a, oh, well, it helped her, so it's gonna help me. Like, please don't, please. I don't want a lawsuit. So yes, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, I was just at my wit's end with my mental health. I was like crying all the time. Just like every little thing, like it could literally be anything, it would set me off. Like literally my boss coming for a meeting and being like, how's work going? Like nothing was even bad going on, and I would just start crying and be like, I just don't know, I'm sorry, like I was an absolute train wreck. Like I don't know how I even still have a job. Sorry about my hair. I literally just did it and it looks freaking terrible. Gross. So anyway, yeah, I would cry all the time. I was so angry and emotional in the sense that like literally anything that Tyson said, I would like get angry at him for. I was like constantly feeling like trapped. It got to the point with my anxiety side of things where I was too scared to go outside. Like unless I was going from door to car to work or door to car to a place, like I could not just go for a walk. It was completely impossible for me to have the doors open unless Tyson was home. I couldn't go for a walk unless Tyson came with me. I just was like a hermit crab. So along with all of that anxiety, as well as just being like almost, I was very high functioning as to, in the sense that I never called in for sick days, as in mental health days. I could like, even if I was sick, I was too scared to not go to work. So I guess like I had to constantly be doing something. I constantly felt like I needed to be moving in a specific direction, whereas I know on the other side of the spectrum, people just become so depressed or so anxious that they can't leave their house, they can't leave their bed. I was the opposite. So I constantly had to be doing something to try and get my mind off the fact that I was like severely medically depressed. So I went to the doctor. I went to a couple of different doctors for a couple of different purposes to try and figure out why I was feeling this way. I was quite overweight at the time as well. I'm assuming the depression was probably making that happen as well, because I hadn't really changed a lot in my diet, but I gained like 30 kilos in the space of 2 to 3 years, and then so I was at 100 kilo mark. I kept trying to like exercise and diet and count calories, and I was doing like 1200 calorie a day, making sure it was like high protein, low carb, or like a 30-30-30 as far as like percentages of protein, carbs, and fats. I was just like constantly trying to improve myself to try and make myself feel better. One of the doctors was like, maybe if you just exercised a bit more, you'd feel better. So I was like, cool, thanks, I'm cured from depression. Anyway, I finally found a doctor that took me seriously, and she did one of the DASS tests, which is depression, anxiety, and stress. And it turned out that I was in the high to severe case of depression and the moderate to high of stress, and high to severe of anxiety. So stress wasn't so bad, but depression and anxiety was through the roof. Because my anxiety was at the level it was, I think that's why they chose to opt for Zoloft as my medication. So they put me on 50 milligrams of Zoloft straight off the bat, and they said, you know, it will feel a bit weird for a couple of days, and then you should start to feel like how it should feel for a couple of weeks, and then the option is you'll start to like plateau into a good state, or you'll plateau and you'll start going back to your old feelings. So I left it for I think 3 weeks to a month. The first couple of days was just the weirdest. Like it felt like everything was just going a million miles an hour, and I was like, what is going on all the time? After that, like after maybe a week or so, I started to dip back in, and then I was like, oh, so this is probably what it's supposed to feel like. You're supposed to just feel like a normal functioning human being that doesn't want to just drive off the side of the road all the time. And then after a couple of weeks from there, I started to plateau back down, and I was like, oh, I have feelings again, but they weren't the good feelings or the normal feelings. It plateaued back into a bad state where I just felt like I did before without the medication. So after that, they decided to double up my dose. So I was on 100 milligrams of Zoloft. And once again, I went through the weird motions of like, whoa, for a while. And then it was another week or so after that I started to like plateau, but I plateaued nicely and I started to feel just like a normal functioning person. It was really refreshing, and it definitely didn't mean that I was completely numbed out. It just meant that I could function and I could not just lose my mind over literally the smallest thing, and I started to be able to do things again, like take Jerry for walks by myself and go out and do things, and I was more proactive in wanting to see friends, and I just didn't feel like completely shut out and shut down like I did before. So fast forward to, I want to say June last year, I definitely was like, I am feeling it. I'd been feeling really good and confident that I could do this on my own now for a couple of weeks. Then I decided to go through the process of weaning off them. However, it took me until late February to decide to do it, because I went through a major surgery and I decided that it would be crazy to try and have this life-altering thing happen to me as well as going off antidepressants. I just didn't want to risk putting myself through too much stress at once to end up going back into my old habits. So I recovered from the surgery and I went forward with the weaning process. So how I went about that was I went to my doctor, the one that prescribed me the Zoloft in the first place, and I told her how I was feeling. She put me through another one of those DAS tests, the depression, anxiety, and stress tests, and everything was normal. Like I was like a normal functioning human being again. And I definitely felt like I answered all of the questions really correctly. I didn't fudge them to try and get off them early. Like I just wanted to be as honest and open as possible to make sure that I was doing the right thing for myself, and it looked like I was. So from there, as I mentioned, I was on 100 milligrams of Zoloft. She started me right away on the weaning process, and she was like, what you got to do first is you have to go down to 50 for a week. Then from there, I had to go down to 50 every second day for a week. So it was only a 2-week weaning process, which a lot of people that have been on antidepressants have told me that that's like crazy quick. And like, I assume where I'm going with it and where I'm feeling with it, I can understand why, and I'll tell you why. So when they say the weaning process takes months to do, I think it's more the mental weaning process. I don't think you need to physically be weaning off of something to be mentally weaning off of it, or for your body to be weaning off of it. The first week on the 50s wasn't so bad, but I definitely felt like a little and then when I started doing the half days, where one I was doing 50 and then the next I wasn't doing anything, that second day was torturous. Like, it wasn't, when I say torturous, okay, grow up. It wasn't torturous, but it was just like, I was having like these feelings in my brain of like, it sounded like lightsabers going like zoop, 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 and like it felt like my vision was like, I could see, but it was just like jolting, like my vision was jolting, and then I was hearing like zoop, zoop in my head, and it was just like so frequent. And I got heaps of vertigo, so I'd be standing and then all of a sudden my feet would be like this, and it would feel like the whole floor would go like this, and then I'd be like, holy shit, and I'd have to like grab a table or whatever. Stringing a sentence together was virtually impossible for about a week. I'm still struggling with that now, so I took my last official ever pill 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. So yeah, not the Saturday that just passed, not the Saturday before, but the Saturday before. So I'm in my 3rd week of being completely off of it, and my brain and my body is still 100% completely still adjusting. I'm not having the little zoop zoop zoops anymore, but they got less and less frequent, and I don't really have any at all now, but it definitely has only just kind of stopped in the last few days. It was almost constant in the beginning, and then from there it went into like, I'd have spurts of it, but it would still be daily, and then it would go into like one little quick zoop every once in a while, and just got less and less frequent, and now I don't really think I have them anymore, but I still 100% am finding it difficult to speak and think and like cognitively be like, okay, I've heard the information and I need to respond to it now. Like, I'm just like, Grr. For a while there, I was like having a conversation, and then I would just be like, and blah blah blah, like fully like visions, like a raven going into a vision. But as far as how I'm feeling and what I'm going through now, my emotional state and what I'm feeling and going through, I feel exactly like I did while I was on Zoloft, but I'm just not medicated anymore. But on the plus side of that, I'm also feeling feelings that were clearly being numbed by the Zoloft that I didn't realize. So most of these are a positive thing because I'm genuinely feeling like real joy and like overwhelmed happiness. And on the back of that, I am feeling rage and like overwhelming sadness. Like, for example, yesterday, it was happy tears, I think, but I like cried myself to sleep. And I had a really happy day, and I still was just like, like full on sobbing like that guy in the pillow. Like, it was really weird. But also, my body wasn't used to crying, so it was like, oh, this feeling, let's get it all out. As Tyson said, bring all of the water to the eyeballs immediately. I cried for hours. I even have like a little situation going on my eyelid here from like rubbing my eyes. But don't feel sorry for me. I am happy that I felt that way because it means that I'm feeling joy, but I'm able to, that's not a great example, but I'm able to handle emotions and feel them wholeheartedly without it just breaking me down into a million pieces. Like before, the tiniest thing would set me off into a fit of just To conclude, side effects that I got from weaning off were things like fatigue, the brain zap noises things, not being able to really cognitively speak all that well. I don't think cognitively is the right word. Whatever, you know what I mean. Overwhelming senses of either happiness, sadness, rage, you know, everything is very overwhelming at the moment, but in a really positive way. I would not want to change it or go back. Female things like my period being all weird, like it coming when it's not supposed to, and then just like coming for like an hour and then being like, okay, bye. That's kind of like, I'm not concerned, but it's like all of a sudden just decided that's going to be a thing. But overall, I'm really happy with the result of being able to come off them finally, and I'm not going to kick myself down if for some reason this feeling comes back. These feelings come back. That's the whole point of Zoloft, is it's supposed to be able to aid your brain in being able to produce serotonin. So I believe that I have given my brain the tools to be able to produce the serotonin on its own, and I feel like I'm able to function through life again. So I hope this was useful, and if I haven't really covered anything, please ask me in the comments below because as I said, I can't really think very well, so I don't even know if I've covered anything in this video. I hope I have. If there's anything you'd like me to expand on, if there's anything I didn't cover that you did want to know about when it comes to coming on or going off of Zoloft, I'm your gal. So that is it, my friends. If you like this video and you like me, then you know what to do. You need to like, comment, subscribe, do the buzzwords, click the bell, notification bar, all of the things that I usually say in the outro. So without further ado, much love, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.